In December of 2022, Bergami tells us he was made aware of effectively a plot by staff to harm him and other officers. Those threats would be brought to light in the form of letters apparently written and signed by inmates. This is a copy of one of those letters. We asked Bergami and Whitmore about these threats.
While I was acting warden, the inmates gave this to a staff member that they felt like they could trust, who then turned it into the investigation section of our institution, and then I was alerted of it. So I ended up calling Warden Bergami, and he was obviously quite upset, and he was traveling with his wife, and he said, "I can't tell you what to do as the warden because my name is in this in these documents. So you're going to have to call up to the region, Mr. Matavosian, to see how he wants to guide you going forward." So I said, "No problem, warden. I'll keep you posted." I called up and I explained all the details and went through everything to Mr. Matavosian, the regional director, and he told me he had to think about it. He would call me back because he didn't know what to do immediately. These were, obviously a serious allegation being made here, but he wanted to make sure that he got the decision right. So Warden Bergami and some time had passed. So Warden Bergami called, what's going on? What's happening with this? I said, I haven't got direction yet. I don't know. And he's like, well, what are you waiting on? I said, sir, Mr. Matavosian said that he's going to make the decision, so I have to wait for his decision. And in the meantime, Warden Bergami's, beside himself. His wife is worried. I think their young daughter's in the car and it was on the speakerphone and she could hear the conversation and she's, obviously now panicked that her dad's life is being threatened. So that lead will I'll let Warden Bergami take over from there. But what I was told to do was relieve those individuals of staff that were being allocated off their post. Um, and but not a big investigation was done.
Yeah, so when I got back to town, obviously I was a little shaken up, but it's law enforcement. I served in the Gulf War. I fought for this country, and I knew that's the risk that you take. Was I worried to make rounds by myself? Yeah, absolutely. I wasn't worried about the inmates, though, John. I was worried about the staff. That's what I was worried about because in the letter, in the letters, the staff had manipulated a plan or presented a plan to inmates to attack me. So I ensured that I didn't go anywhere alone, uh, and it was nerve wracking for a while. But what I tried to do was see if there was some legitimacy to the threat, and I couldn't do that because I didn't know who the key players were or how many there were. So that should have been left to an outside entity to investigate. We sent the letter to the FBI. We sent it to OIG. We sent it to OIA. They did nothing. They did nothing. And when I approached my boss about it, uh, he said, well, do you feel scared? And what was I supposed to say? Well, no, I need to go hide. Uh, yeah, I'm concerned. And that was it. That was the end of it. So Zumker complained to him that because of the staff members that Whitmore put on different posts that were mentioned, and then he ordered me to put him back on post after 3 days. So there was no resolution to it. It was just deal with it. Now imagine every single day. But what I always knew, John, was that in doing this for so long, that if you give inmates what they got coming, uh, they're not going to hurt you. It's when you go against the grain and you start playing games with them, then you run into problems. So I would always tell the exec staff, look, you can open all the doors in the SMU and I'll walk through there and won't blink an eye. But the staff there, they couldn't do it. They couldn't do it because they'd get killed. And that's what worried me, that if one of those guys got killed on my watch because they abused those inmates, and it would have happened. I'm certain it would have happened because the inmates told us when we made rounds. Every day we made rounds, they told us, we get out of this cell, you're going to have a problem with one of your staff. And that was hard to hear.
Now, you heard Bergami mention there was no resolution to those reported threats. Well, according to Bureau of Prison documents obtained by the Marshall Project and NPR, the threats were investigated but could not be confirmed or refuted. Finally, tonight, in August of 2023, we reported that Bergami had left his position the month prior. While the union president expressed shock at what he called an abrupt departure, he also celebrated the new temporary leadership that was brought in. We asked Bergami and Whitmore why they left.
Well, for me, it was, I looked down the end of the road and then I started really realizing that I wasn't getting support. So to me, that was a point in time where I'm just wasting my time and missing time with family. So it was time to walk away for me because, life's only so long and you can't get the time back that you're away.
We're not supported. And matter of fact, I wrote a letter to the director requesting the deputy director, Mr. Lothrop, uh, requesting a transfer out of there. Fearing for my safety, also fearing for not my well-being. My mental health, my physical wellness. You know, there was a time I think that the warden had went out in the community, or someone told me in the community they saw a sign hanging on a bulletin board or a telephone pole or something, and within the community it said "shame, shame, shame," and with his picture up on it. I mean, this is in our community. How do we gonna feel safe? So I had to leave. I didn't want to leave. I was not the maximum retirement age was 57. I was 54 years old, and I had a lot left to give to the agency. I had 30 plus years of correctional experience. I was never disciplined. Never had any type of negative evaluation, always positive. Great reviews from my supervisor. So I didn't want to leave. I wanted to stay and give back to this agency that's been good to me. But I couldn't do that if I wasn't being supported. And unfortunately, I hate to put another show on your channel here, but 60 Minutes just highlighted what a crisis this agency's in. There was an episode about 3 weeks ago that the Bureau of Prisons is rated as the worst agency in the Department of Justice to work for. And they wonder why the staff are leaving at an alarming rate. Why Warden Bergami and myself, who have given everything to this agency, moved around, uprooted our families, and did just some of the most hardest, the difficult jobs that the bureau has to offer. Thompson was a terrible assignment. People told me, "Are you crazy going there?" And I said, "You know what? I want to go there and do some good." And I think some good came of this because under Warden Bergami's watch and the executive team that he put together, we had zero homicides and zero suicides. There was an accidental death there, but it was nothing what we had seen. That leading into that, 18 months prior, they had five deaths. So I think that what we did was, what we were supposed to do with Bureau of Prisons employees, protect and serve.
We'll wrap up the program when we come back.